It's Wednesday, the 14th of August, 2024, and this is Sacred Segments. We have a focus this evening of both healing and manifestation in multiple forms. And we have some beautiful guests with us from all over the world. And some people that are scheduled to join us may join us and they may not. It all depends on the universal energies and how they match, you know, of course. The order of play will be as follows. I would like for us all to introduce ourselves briefly, and then I'm going to ask Muriel to speak about number 3 in the spiritual laws, because she's been teaching us about one of her subjects that she writes about, which is the spiritual laws. And in the past, she's spoken about the 2 other spiritual laws, and today I believe you're going to be speaking about number 3. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct.
Great, okay. So I'm going to start by introducing myself, and we'll go to Muriel, and then we'll go to Deborah, and then Carl for brief introductions, okay? So my name's Alexis Constantinou. I am a singer and have a deep interest in the metaphysical or spiritual. I have many years of study in the healing arts, yet nothing sort of, you know, professional. I'm not a doctor of anything. I'm just interested in healing and the spiritual realms. And I was inspired to start this group and join together people of different disciplines from all over the world so we can share our healing work and our ideas and our experiences of manifestation, and hopefully teach and raise our own vibration and, you know, share those findings. That's a little bit about me. Muriel, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, Alex. Thank you for having me. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
Yes,
can you?
Okay.
So I am Muriel Blanc. I am a 2-time bestseller author recognized by the Los Angeles Tribune as my own book, and a 2-time bestseller author as a contributor on 2 other books. I also am an intuitive transformational coach and a master healer, as well as an artist. I design, my specialty is secret mandala or secret geometry with a healing frequency attuned to the divine blueprint of a business or a person's souls. So that's what I do. And my specialty, of course, are the 12 universal laws, but there are many other things that I can offer.
Wonderful. And I feel, Muriel, you're such a multi-layered.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing you, so I'm going to remove my headset for whatever reason. They're not working.
Okay.
I apologize.
No problem. Yeah, I'm just going to carry on speaking about you anyway, even if you can't hear us. I was going to say that I feel that Muriel is such a multi-layered individual. You know, there are many, many strings to her bow, and much more to learn about.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Deborah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's really interesting, Muriel. I want to hear all about what you do. Yeah, so I'm based in London, and I'm pretty on a mission these days. I think I was, although, as you know me from when I did my forest bathing in 2018, I knew there was something pretty wrong with the world, and I wanted to reconnect people to nature and ourselves, and that's really what I've always been about, just reconnecting us back to ourselves, remembering who we are, because we've just forgotten, basically. And yeah, just bringing sort of ancient wisdom into the modern times. That's what I've always been about, and empowering others. I love it. And in 2020, obviously, you know, we had this transformational time where I basically, you could sort of call it a spiritual awakening, what have you, but I basically transmuted all the sort of upset and confusion into a purpose of, okay, let's find a solution. These systems aren't working. I'm not happy at all about how things are going in terms of our health systems, and it's all about natural healing. And so I basically aligned to a company which would be a vehicle for me to bring forth different solutions. And that company, it was all about filtered water. They've stopped distributing, but I'm now possibly a really exciting venture to do with light and light frequency and light therapy, harnessing our own natural light to basically remember who we are, activate parts of us that we were able to do in the past, and we've forgotten how to do it. So we're kind of recoding and resetting using technology, natural technology. Nothing enters the body, it's all light, to be like we were in ancient times. So it's kind of ancient wisdom, bringing ancient wisdom back into the modern day. And I just love what I do, because what I do is share and educate and empower others to do the same. And I'm just in the perfect place to do that. So I'm really, really happy just to talk about what I do. And I'm really fascinated always. I'm a bit of an explorer,
Great. Thank you, Deborah. I have questions which I will save. Carl, thank you for being with us.
Hi, yes, my name's Carl Preisler. I'm from Ireland, now retired, living in Spain, though I spent most of my working life in London doing IT. I'm mainly a trance medium, so I go into trance and my spirit guides take possession of my body and speak directly through me to you, and that can also be used as a vehicle for bringing through trance healing or for doing soul rescue work, where I act as the kind of in-between for the trapped souls and spirit guides to work with people sitting in circle. And yes, we'll be doing a demonstration later. You get to speak to my guide. And yes, I find a lot of the work has there's the educational philosophy aspect, but part of the fascination of being a trance medium as well is the frequency of the energies that you can bring through when you're doing healing work. And I've also started to do a lot of kind of healing modality using special radiesthetic pendulums, which I also find very interesting, because they seem to capture, or they seem to be a key into a lock that triggers my energy and the ability to, with my, I guess, trance muscles, to shift heavy energies and stuck energies for people. So I find that quite exciting.
Fascinating. Wow.
Kind of shamanic in a way, I guess, being a trance medium, because you allow, you have such kind of a thin border between spirit and the physical world, and you're allowing the passage of energies between you and the 3D world. So
okay, I definitely have questions. Again, I'm going to take them. Before we go to Muriel, I'm just going to ask, does anybody have anything pressing in the form of questions for anybody, or anything that they would like to say?
no.
Not at the moment. I'm just fascinated in all of
pressing.
it. I'm fascinated. I'm a bit worried about the demonstration.
Why are you worried?
I'm a bit worried about who am I going to connect with, or what energy.
Well,
if I'm going to be in the process.
I see. Well, I can honestly say, just from my own experience, that Carl's guide is very, very, very loving.
Yeah.
Any other energies that Carl has brought through in the past has been of very high frequency and of love energy. So there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll only be my guide coming through today. Well, unless you invite some friends, but I don't bring through people's departed ones or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Just to put your mind at rest there. Okay, great. Thank you for introducing yourself, everyone. Muriel, if you're happy to speak now, then please go ahead with your segment. You are currently muted. If you could please unmute.
I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I was muted. So, so I was saying in the past, I had spoken about two universal laws, which are the law of oneness and the law of vibration. Today is about the law of attraction. And most everybody has heard about The Secret or have seen the movie or talk about the laws of attraction. This has been ongoing for, at least 30 years. So the common thing that is happening is that in the law of attraction, the belief is ask, believe, and you should receive. And so if you think positive thought, you will get positive outcome. If you think negative thought, you will get negative outcome. Now, a million of people around the world have done self-development courses or bought the book, and they come back with the answer that the law of attraction does not work. And I can promise you it does work. So how many times have we, all of us, brought into our life something we did not want? And so it does work. So what's the difference? Why will it work on the thing we do not want versus the things we do want? And the reason is very simple. We have to be clear of what we are asking the universe to bring to us. So if we have any doubt, it's not going to be able to come into our reality. So we have to be very, very clear. And then we have to really trust and believe that what we have asked for is going to come our way into our reality. Now, there is other steps into that. It's not a magic lamp. It's not a genie. We're not rubbing a lamp. We also have to take actions. So in another word, if you're saying, I'm going to win $1 million at the lottery, but if you're not playing the lottery, how are you going to win it? Okay, so it's a simple thing. So you do have to take action. Now, what's happening when it's not manifesting as fast as you want to? Well, you're too impatient, okay? Were you clear? Did you have any doubt into your subconscious mind? Did you have anything that is blocking this law of attraction? Is there anything that you're not aware? So this is a time when you're trying to use the law of attraction to really look into oneself and make a list, and be very specific. So the more specific you are, the better it's going to be. Now, there is an important key in what I'm going to say next. You have to see yourself having it already, okay? And you have to see yourself doing this aspect of your life, and you have to anchor it with all your senses. So it's not just, oh, I want to win the lottery, in my example, is I am winning the lottery, which is a difference. My ticket 123 is a winner of this lottery. Oh my God, I won it, and I am, going on a vacation or whatever it is that you're desiring. When I found out I was wearing XYZ. So what I'm saying here, not only you have to be precise in what you're looking for, You have to take action, but you have to see yourself as you already have it. You already have it. It's in your pocket. You have requested, which is you ask, then you believe, and you will receive. If at any point in time you are impatient, I'm not saying you per se, we are impatient, we are frustrated because it's not coming fast enough, we're blocking the law of attraction. And then the next step is it tied up with the law of vibration. If you're wishing to be, let's say, having more wealth as far as money into your bank account, but you're not able to picture yourself into that vibration of wealth, then it's not going to work. You're going to attract the opposite effect. So we have to really be conscient as a creator, a co-creator with the universe, of how we are asking and what are we doing for it. So some people will use visual boards, some people will use prayer, some other meditation, some other maybe grounding in nature. And that is all beautiful and amazing to do. But again, if you are not taking action, if you're not aligning yourself with the desired outcome, and you truly believe, then nothing is going to happen. Any question on those aspects that I described?
Yeah. Lots of questions.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm always thinking about this.
Go ahead.
So when you say, I mean, partly, you know, because I do this, and then I'm really in it. You know, I'm there. I'm in the vibration. It's happening, and then there's something that maybe on the timeline it's not going to happen as I think it's going to happen. Then I feel disappointed because it's almost like my future I've created it in my head, and it's like, well, get rid, you know, just come down to earth for a minute. You know, not everyone is on the same page as you right now.
Well, you have a valid point here. And so here is a key. When we are looking for the law of attraction, we want it instant. Okay, we are in a society now where we want things at a faster pace. Okay, we cannot even wait if you're going to drive through more than 2 minutes, right? So so when we're looking on our social media, we have, and I say we, it's all of us, we have an attention span of, I'm going to watch less than a minute video. Okay, so the universe does not work that way. So if you, when you are getting frustrated or disappointed because it's not coming as fast as you wanted or the way you wanted, is in the back of your mind, you have a sub-programming that is blocking you from reaching out what you're asking for. And
Right.
so let me give you an example. When you are turning on a computer, the computer is turning on, you have all kind of program in the background, and you're like looking at your computer and you're like, yeah, I can send email, I can go on the internet, I can do all that. Okay, it's magic, right? It's the same with your mind. In your mind has a lot of programming into the background, and nobody is fully conscious at 100% what sub-programming is running in the back. And so when you start, like, let's say, getting frustrated or disappointed, it's a time to stop and actually reflect. So a lot of people, for example, want to be wealthier or healthier, okay? And they're like, well, I'm trying, I did all this, and I didn't manifest X amount of dollars in my bank account, or British pound or euro. And I want to be healthy, but nothing is happening, right? So what's blocking? What action have you taken or not taken? So in the case of, let's say, wealth, okay, well, are you creating your own business? Are you clear into what you're going to do, what client you're going to reach, your target client, your XYZ, right? And so as you start breaking it down, then you have a better, clear view so you can manifest faster and better. Now, was there any time in your life where you just say, you know, it would be really nice if I could have an ice cream truck coming down the street and I want an ice cream, right? And you were young and you didn't think about it, and suddenly you hear the ice cream truck and you go and you're like, oh, Mom, I need an ice cream, okay? And then so you have 20 in the fridge, okay? So what just happened? You were a little kid, you were joyful, you didn't question anything. You were just like, hey, I want an ice cream, and suddenly it appears. When we're becoming adult, we are definitely programmed by society, by teachers, by family, by friends, by environment. So we no longer have this joyful experience. Okay, so we're too like, I need to have it now. But if we actually are like a little child, okay, and we do it with joy and we do it with love, and we're not worrying how it's going to come or when it's going to come, then the law of attraction is definitely going to work. Okay. And so I can give you an example. I went to volunteer in Wyoming. I live in Florida. I went to volunteer in June for an organization, a nonprofit organization. So I flew to Wyoming and I was there. I had no expectation whatsoever. I was just there to help. Okay, beautiful. And so I'm in nature, my vibration is high, and suddenly I'm meeting all kinds of people that after they talk to me for a few minutes, were so happy to talk to me, they offer me to be a guest on their TV show. Okay, so but before that, all I did was like, hey, I would like to talk on a TV show, that'd be cool. And that's all I did. The next thing I know, I'm flying to Wyoming. I said yes to an opportunity of volunteering, and the opportunity happened. Why? Because I believe it. I let it go to the universe. I was in that joyful kid aspect, and then it happens. So every time you're asking something, you need to be in a joyful, higher vibration so it can manifest faster for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you mentioned something. Sorry, you're muted, Deborah. Go ahead.
I think the main thing is you can be specific, but actually it might be slightly different from what you're thinking it will be.
Correct, because the universe is going to give you what is best for your higher self and the evolution of your soul. Mm-hmm. So in another word, if I'm giving you everything you desire, okay, that's great and I love it, right? But are you going to learn anything if it's given to you on a platter? But if I'm giving you, let's say, 3/4 of what you asked for and 1/4 in a different aspect, then you're going to be like still growing, still evolving, still challenging yourself, still learning, still teaching others. But if everything is given to you on a silver platter, it's nice. It's really nice. We all love that for sure. But the universe is not a magic genie or a magician in that way. It's going to always bringing for your highest good.
Yeah.
So the same goes when we have negative thoughts, we're going to attract negativity. And you're going to be like, no, I never asked for it. I never did that. I'm like, you probably did. And you're not aware of it, right? And so then why did I attract this negative experience? Well, guess what? How do you know you like to go in the sunlight if you have never experienced the sunlight? If all your life you have experienced the snow and rain, why will you like the sunlight, right? Until the opportunity is presented to you. So in another word, the universe might give you some things that you don't want. So you can be like, hey, I have had this experience, moving out. I don't need to attract this anymore. We're done. I got it. Okay. So think of it as a growth. Your soul is going to evolve.
That's a really good answer.
We need to be aware of time, and we could maybe do
Oh, sorry.
another 8 more minutes on this topic. Carl, do you have any questions? No. Deborah, did you have anything else you wanted?
No, that's clear, and it just is a good reminder, really.
There was something that I wanted to add. It was more of an observation in my own experience, and if you have any feedback on this. What I noticed in working with the law of attraction for many years, and also teaching groups about the law of attraction for many years, is that this three-pronged formula of ask, believe, and receive is missing something. I always felt that you needed to come from a place of extreme silence and stillness within your whole body before you manifest. You know, you really need to enter into the silence, and also to feel. You know, that part is also missing. You know, they don't talk about feeling it. You did, but you also mentioned something really important, Muriel, which is about this, you know, high vibing. In my experience, you know, when you're angry, frustrated, if you have clutter, anything that's low vibration is going to be a block to your manifesting. But when you're high vibing, things just flow, and everything works beautifully, right? And as you said,
Exactly.
you know, it might not be the thing that you want, but it's the thing that's good for you. What's any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and you're very correct. So when you are vibing high, the things that are going to come toward you are going to be very easy, and with, like I said, no effort. And I was mentioning my trip to Wyoming in June. So everything is going to be going smooth, all right? So, but again, you have, like you said, you have to be feeling and seeing yourself. So if you don't have the law of vibration with the law of attraction, it's not going to work. So in another word, if you are down, if you are depressed, if you are anxious, if you are frustrated, if you are angry, those are lower vibration. And in those instances, you cannot attract something magical if you are in such a low vibration. Now, let me give you a different example. You're on the highway, you're driving your car, someone tried to cut you off, you almost got into a car accident, you also saw, you know, your last few minutes of your life flashing in front of your eyes, and by a miracle, you avoided a major accident. The first things out of your mind is not going to be, thank you, I bless you so much. It's not going to be that, right? The first reaction of any human being on this planet is going to be maybe fear or maybe anger toward the driver who did not see you. So it's not going to be, I bless you. Okay, no, it's not going to be any of that. So then you arrive at your destination. You're still frustrated. You're still angry. You're still in shock about what could have happened. So now your energy and your auric field is as whole, okay? It's not at peace, it has whole. So now you're entering a room and people are like, oh, I don't want to be near this person. I don't know what's going on, all right? And so now if you are in that state of mind and you're supposed to speak on stage, the deliverance of your speech is, even so you prepare, is not going to have the same impact. It's going to have a negative impact because you are in a negative vibration and frustration. So now the other way around, if you went to the beach and it was beautiful sunlight and you had a fun time and you went to, everything went smooth and you arrive at destination and everything is working beautifully and you're like so joyful to speak, then your message is going to be vibrating higher because you are at peace and in joy and in a loving harmony. So everything is really tied to our emotions and feelings at any specific moment. And if anybody tells you they are at all the time 100% at joy and peace and love, they're lying. Okay, I'm just saying they're lying.
Muriel, I have a question.
Sure.
So you mentioned number one, the law of oneness, number two, the law of vibration, number three, the law of attraction. What
Yes.
is the next one?
So the next one is a law of let me see. I think it's a law of not convergence. Help me.
Correspondence?
Correspondence. Thank you.
Correspondence. And what
Correct.
if you
Yes.
could if you could encapsulate that, is it about vibration? Is correspondence
It's going to correspond to your law of vibration, but mostly if you see yourself in that aspect. So in another word, if you say, you know, I want to attract wealth, because this is the most things that people are focusing nowadays. I want to attract wealth. So you are joyful, you are clear, you maybe you're taking some action, but if you don't have the feeling and the emotion and the corresponding attitude that you are already wealthy, then it's not going to happen.
I see. Okay.
So the law of correspondence is really matching you with the outcome you desire.
So next time, could you speak, please, on more on this law of correspondence?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. In the remaining 2 minutes of your segment, and that doesn't mean you know, please, if you free, we'd like you to stay for the whole session. But just for this segment, is there anything that you have in the next remaining couple of minutes that you want to add?
No, the only thing that I'm going to add, and I do have to get going. I do mandalas for businesses and souls, and I design them on canvas. And so each one has a different healing frequency that I seal in it. And so the shape and the color. So those are used as either meditation or prayer tool or anything of that kind. And to finish, to kind of show you, my daughter brought me this postcard from her trip that she just did. Now, when you're looking at this, I am already there, okay? And what that means is this picture, this postcard is giving me joy, is giving me love, is giving me high vibe. So if I'm looking at something like this, I can definitely try to attract more on what I'm looking for based just on this picture. So a lot of visual tool, a lot of things that makes you happy will help you use the law of attraction to your advantage.
Really good message. So it's important to surround yourself with beautiful things, beautiful people, and things that make you feel good, right? Anything that doesn't, get rid. Or keep them away, right?
Yes, exactly. And sometimes, before I go, sometimes we do, because we have such a powerful light in us, we do, of course, attract people who are very wounded and we need a lot of healing. And of course, we can help them, or we can choose not to, depending if we think we can help or not, and their level. We can only reach them at the level they are at.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Muriel. That's wonderful. Appreciate your.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you, and I will watch a replay for both of you. And thank you again. And I do have to go. So
good to see you.
Bye.
Take care. Lots of love. Bye.
Oh, that's so interesting. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So without further ado, let's hear from you, Deborah. Now, just before you start, I do have a question for you. You mentioned LifeWave. Is it the same LifeWave that does the patches of stem cells? Okay. Yes. I know just a little bit about them, not a lot.
Oh, so, great. Yeah. Well, it's LifeWave's hitting the UK by storm, so you know, you're going to get in the know.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to talk about the light aspects, you know, and how I got to where I am, and then about the technology, because it's interesting, and how our bodies work and all of that. So I will be talking about the patches, but not all at the same time. And I think, you know, what will resonate is really what I said before about it's really remembering who we are and what we're capable of. And where I'm at now, I'm able to really feel much more than I have done. So it's you know, that's a lifetime's work, isn't it? The healing journey is to allow yourself to really feel, and that's always the thing that I've worked on.
Do you mean that you're more highly attuned to vibration and more sensitive? Is that what you mean?
I'm just more in my body. I'm able to process my feelings and manage them, basically. So yeah, I'm able to self-regulate and to do more and grow more because I can feel more.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
I like that language.
Yeah, well, that's why I like to go on these shows, because then I can, you know, it helps my brain work when I'm reflecting and things. But that's what I would say, more comfortable in my own skin, if you want to say that, you know. Yeah. Yeah, so how am I here? So, you know, Alexis, the last time we spoke was a long time ago, and I was doing the forest bathing and what have you. But I was always like really interested in the sun and the light and the Schumann resonance and all the light coming in from the photonic belt and all of this, knowing that we were having an impact on our bodies because of what was going on external, and how everything is related. What's going on inside of the earth, we're becoming more the earth is becoming more crystalline, and so are our bodies, and that's all to do with the light and frequencies. So I was kind of knew all that, you know, learned all that. And I suppose, you know, in terms of me understanding my body as being electrical, doing acupuncture, someone did acupuncture on me, and it was just in a funny place, and I suddenly got this massive electric shock. And it's like, oh my god, where did that come from? And then someone said, well, you know, you've got so much voltage in you that you could actually light up a city, you know, you just don't realize. So you know, all these things you start to learn about, and you know, I just want to keep it really down to earth, you know, just everyday kind of stuff. I mean, we can talk about the light bodies, you know, and I'm always like going down the rabbit hole with all of that, and the fact that our bodies are actually changing right now, you know. And then I came across the concept of the light inside of us, which is pretty new to me, about a year. So that's pretty new, isn't it? That we produce our own light. I never knew that. I mean, how ridiculous that I didn't know that, you know, if I'm talking to people like yourself. But you know, hopefully I can, a lot of people resonate. So there's a couple of books that I found fascinating. Barbara Wren, I don't know if you've heard of her. It's called The Cellular Awakening. And she was a founder of the College of Naturopathic Nutrition, Natural Nutrition. She was an educator and a speaker. And she basically says that when a cell is illuminated, the DNA within that cell is also illuminated, giving us access to universal wisdom, which really helps us be who we truly are. So it's kind of the macrocosm is the cell, and the microcosm is the universe. And it's really looking at the cell, the biophotons in the cell, how we utilize and harness the light in the form of biophotons, which sort of unlocks our true potential and releases our greatness. And so I was like, oh right, okay, so there's a whole chapter in here about light, and I have sort of highlighted so much in it, but let me just see if I can remember some of it, because the most sort of things that really stand out for me is that our ability to hold light around our cells is a reflection of how our level of consciousness. And around our cells we have the electron clouds, and that depends on the cell membrane potential. So I'm getting quite technical, but that's the concept, that it's kind of physics in a way, and you can do things in a physical, biological way. And that what she said, it's fascinating, that we can discuss this afterwards, but that humans, dolphins and whales were the ones that could hold the most electron clouds around the cell. I just found that really fascinating. But then, does that make us more like superior? So that's the other thing. I have to be careful when I say that as humans. So that was interesting. And then I came across this book, You Are Frequency. It's actually written by a lady called Debbie Selwood. And again, there's one chapter called The 7 Rays of Light. I think you would like that, Alexis. There's different rays, and the 7th ray, known as the Awakener, is bringing a new vibration to our planet, raising the level of humanity's consciousness. So it's just another thing to learn. You have different frequencies, and I liked that. And she also quotes Barbara Wren, basically saying that that this is what she picked out a quote: light not only comes in from the universe, but it also is produced by free radicals coming together at speed. That's how our internally produced light is referred to as a biophoton. So that's the sort of mechanism behind it. And our DNA personalizes the light from the universe, right? It holds the imprint of who we are, and when we are fully functioning and able to make and emit biophotons, we are able to fully manifest who we are.
Wow.
But I like all that. And so segueing into LifeWave now, when I discovered that you can use frequencies to do certain responses in your body through the biophotons, that's really interesting. It's like we're playing a musical instrument in our bodies to function more optimally and to be who we really truly are, basically. And it just makes sense on the scientific level, but I can really vouch for it. And just talking now, I'm so pleased that I've got this opportunity to say it, because I haven't said it too many times, but it kind of all comes together. So just sort of stepping back for a minute before I talk about the patches and LifeWave and stuff, a few concepts around light. There's a concept or a process called photobiomodulation. So when we look up at the sun, we're in the sun, our bodies produce vitamin C, and vitamin D. And that's a process called photobiomodulation. So we already have that. We're like photosynthesis for a plant. So there will be a process. And so this is what I learned about in the patches, that uses the same process, basically. And how what we do is we emit biophotons. So that is basically low levels of light, which is basically code. And then you can, I don't want to go and cut to the chase too quickly, but when you study, this is what David Smith, who's the founder of LifeWave, the inventor, who has been an inventor all his life, he studied natural nature and looked at why animals and living beings had longevity, and why there were some species that are immortal. And he looked at the lobster, for example, and the lobster, people look at the lobster because the lobster is it doesn't actually age. It's just that it grows out of its shell, or it gets eaten, or it gets diseased or something like that. But it actually gets stronger as it gets older. And so it's like, what is going on with that lobster? And what it is, people look at it and they go, it's a telomeres, it's a telomeres. People measure their biomarkers, their length of their longevity through telomeres. But what he looked at the blood, and he discovered it's the biophotons, it's the light emission from the blood, that is the thing that causes the longevity. So that was kind of groundbreaking work on his part. And he studied all these things. He looked at mollusks. He looked at the mollusk, the flatworm, that's immortal. You know, do you remember when we looked at those flatworms in the biology class, and then we cut them in half and then they grow back? Oh, the stem cells. And then, you know, there's many different types of species that can live up to, you know, 4,000 years old, like the black coral, about 4,000 years. Green shark is 272. Anyway, it's really interesting. So he's looked at these things, he's studied it all, and the thing was that he came up with, there was a pattern and a coding around the light emissions, the biophotons, and he recorded that as a mathematical formula, and then he did some invention about it. Now, he's also a Christian, and he studies the Bible. He goes to Bible studies, and he was looking at the Bible and the book of Genesis, and he looked at the first sentence in the book of Genesis. Cool. And in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. And he then converted that into Hebrew, and then converted that into numbers. You can do it on the internet. And the same numbers, the same coding appeared. Yeah. So this is kind of mind-blowing stuff he does. And then he also did it with the tree of life. And that was a correlation with the coding that basically activates the mitochondria in the cell, the energy of the cell, the life. So it's all vibration, it's all coding, and there's coding in the Bible, which is really fascinating. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you that. I want to be interesting. Not so many people talk about it until they really get into his work, but he's an absolute genius. He's known as the modern day Tesla. And you know, a brilliant mind, and yeah, nothing else will ever be invented similar to what he's done. And he's bringing in a whole new technology, which is going to be announced in October at a conference called Be the Light, with 6,000 people attending in America, and yeah, that's going to really propel, you know, the products. I think he's going to be looking at light infused water and food and all this kind of stuff. Very revolutionary. So where am I with all this? Let's sort of bring it back to regenerative medicine and science. So I'm really spearheading at the forefront of technology, and obviously we're in the area of stem cells. So that's a massive growth area. We're not there yet at all. There's a lot of, you know, in America it's illegal. It can be known to be risky, intrusive. The efficacy isn't fantastic, and so there isn't really any, you know, non-invasive, accessible stem cell therapy type treatment or solution. So that is an area where LifeWave is excelling. And so I just want to explain how David Smith harnesses his inventions with the light and how it works in your body to then help us to heal and to be our most optimal selves. So I'll just show you what a patch looks like. The patches. So they're these patches here. They're non-transdermal, nothing enters your body at all. Stick on one side, smooth on the other. And in here is a lattice structure of organic acid, which are sugar, amino acids, and water. And that is a proprietary blend that no one's ever going to know. So we're 20 we're 4 years into a 20-year patent. And what the patent says is that, the process is that we put it on our bodies and we're emitting heat, light, and that then is reflected back into our bodies at a very, very specific frequency, which he's identified through his studies, which then elevates a peptide. So if people who are interested in health and well-being, peptides is really the big in thing at the moment. It's peptides people have peptide injectables for all sorts of things. But this is a way that we have our own peptides, which, as we get older, decline in terms of our able to produce our peptides, and that's what is degeneration. So we want to be regenerative, and so this patch activates and elevates a peptide called GHKCU, resets a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state within 12 hours, 24 hours, starts to do that. And one of those genes is the one that helps activate and mobilize your stem cells, and they all can go all around your body. They're pluripotent ones, they're systematic, and they will go to where your body needs it most. So how it works, just in terms of the light, it just reflects back at a specific frequency, and then your body will process through this process called photobiomodulation. So it's all very scientific, and that's what I really like, and it's all scientifically proven. There's clinical studies, there's patents, and there's different patches for different peptides doing different things. So often we talk about the physical, what it's doing, but it's obviously everything's all connected. There's a solution for the depression and anxiety, and the calmness, the brain coherence. That's something that absolutely happens after 6 weeks of patching. That's definitely something that happened with me, being able to process the sort of coming and going more, and just more coherence and processing speed as well. And yeah, so it's like, you have a few patches on. It's like you're playing the piano. You've got different frequencies going on, and yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing that we just remember we were capable of, and we were doing before. If we look at the blue zones, we used to live for 120. We lived for 120 years, and we had a high levels of glutathione, which we can produce ourselves for a peptide. So it's just being able to, because it's just the environment inside of us, because we have to be very careful now to protect ourselves, and to then find a way to live in the blue zones in our modern day. And so this is just a tool to help us to be our most powerful selves, because it's about our cells healing, and we're just here to guide and to know how to use these tools. So
just under 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I'm excited because I'm 60 nearly, and when you're 60 you only have 90% of your stem cells that are dormant, so that you start to think about the aches and pains, and healing gets slower. And I actually wasn't really worried, but then when you start hearing about things, and I just want to be living long and strong, because I've got a lot of work to do here. And so yeah, and I'm joined by a lot of people who feel the same, so it's all fun and doing lots of good work together. And yeah, I'm just excited about bringing forward something groundbreaking. And the fact is, light and sound frequency is where it's at, and I'm just a messenger and a facilitator basically. And anyone who resonates, I just carry the conversation on with them really, and see where people get curious and they want to know more. So that's my little presentation. That's my invitation to carry the conversation on.
Great.
So that's my thing.
Deborah. Would you please post any info on the Sacred Segments page to the patches, and
Okay.
Also the books that you mentioned
Yes.
The Cellular Awakening book and You Are Frequency.
Yes.
You reminded me when you were talking, and then I'll open to questions, about the exercise when you said you emit your own light, of an exercise that I have been doing for many, many years, where you imagine your own light like a little spark within you, and you imagine it growing. It reminded me very much of that.
Yeah. I need to, yeah, absolutely. You can do that. And I understand now what all that's, you know, I haven't come from that healing space like that. So you have. And therefore I'm able to do those things. We're very powerful. You know, we can do those things. Absolutely.
Amazing. Welcome, Joanne, who's joined us in the interim. Joanne Summers, who is the ET researcher. Hello.
Hi, sorry, I'm trying to just find where I can put my camera on.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Deborah?
Well, I'm just curious to read more about his findings. I guess maybe on the website will be more of that, but it just sounded really fascinating. And when you think about it, you know, of course, there's all these, I suppose, quantum processes going on within our bodies that are happening at, like, you know, in the quantum physics arena. And sure, light will be being produced, but how we understand those processes and how we can link into making that understanding to our advantage when it comes to maintaining and our wellness and our health is, it's a fascinating topic.
Yeah. I just love conversation. You know, that's why this book is so good. It talks about light consciousness and diamond consciousness. And so, you know, and the geometry with it. So, you know, it really opens up a conversation of, you know, where we need to be having those conversations.
When you spoke about the Bible and the coding in the Bible, it reminded me of Tesla. And then you mentioned him, who of course Tesla talks about the 3, 6, and 9. And it also, and Joanne, you probably will resonate with this somewhat. It reminded me of the future technologies that the ETs already know about, you know, that are slowly filtering down into, you know, our consciousness. You know, it's a drip feed.
Like the EE system as well.
What
do you know about that?
I don't know.
It's called EE stands for Energy Enhancement System, created by a scientist called Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. And it's very interesting because her parents were involved in secret atomic bomb processes. And she wanted to flip the energy and create something completely the opposite and perfect. And there are ETs involved with that.
Yes. I've been following, I think, the guy that does it.
Oh, Jason.
I follow him, yeah.
Yeah, I did have an EE session actually about a month or so ago, my first time, but I also, you know, have a long time interest in health and wellness, and as a regression therapist as well over the years, I've really done kind of a lot of different practices, and still continue here and there as I'm moved to on myself. So, but I'm passionate, probably more passionate about it than the UFO thing, though it's all aligned. But it really is interesting. And just today, just quickly as an aside, I hope this is all right. If it's not, just tell me. I just reviewed an interview I did a couple of 3 years ago with an English gentleman called Nigel Wright, paranormal investigator, UFO experiencer, researcher, that kind of thing. And he was telling me, or revisiting a memory he had from 1965 when he was only 7, when he and his parents were on a little camping holiday. In those days, it was just a little caravan out in the field, not on a big park or anything. And about 2 a.m., the door opened after Mum had seen something odd outside the window. It was a big, long cigar shape. And And basically these three wonderful Pleiadian-looking people escorted them back to their vehicle. And even him, the little boy at 7, and the mother said, "Oh, please no." He said, no, it's all right. We need to speak to him as well. Aboard the craft, he was still worried about his parents, and he was with an older gentleman. And this is interesting. I haven't heard of those kind of folks showing age. And they said he had a little beard like him, so he's grey, and maybe seemed about 60. So gosh, who knows how old that person would have been. Anyway, they're a research, scientific, medical team. And they were there because he said, and this is in 1965, he said, we're from, and I just looked at this again today, it's amazing, 2035 to 40, he wasn't sure, that time era, and they were researching genomes and DNA. He said, because you have bowel cancer. And they used that word in 1965, which it was hardly ever known then. And they instantly flicked up this, he instantly flicked up this screen, this massive screen, full color. Imagine in 1965, you hardly have a black and white TV, do you? So it's interesting in the social culture of the time, you know, what comes as well as an experience and the impact that that has. And he showed him, he said he didn't know as a 7-year-old what he was being shown, but he was being shown a DNA helix. And he said, you'll understand later. He said, but there's something that might affect our race and we need to explore it because it's what is going on with you and your family. There is a hereditary link.
Right.
And that was amazing because back in 1991, Nigel had extensive life-saving surgery for bowel cancer. And his parents didn't speak about the event. And although he asked his mother in later life if she remembered even that event, because it just was never ever spoken about. And it wasn't like you don't speak about it. It was just like, nothing happened. And everybody got on with their life. But he then had a regression experience in 97 when these memories came back quite clearly. And he said, I've always been frightened of false memory syndrome. He said, but then I had some experiences which were post that, memory related to the bowel cancer. And he said it was absolutely fascinating. So they were there particularly on a scientific exploratory mission to look at the process or progress or genesis of bowel cancer. So it's interesting, isn't it, Deborah, as well, you know, and everybody with the food and everything that's been put on it and how our bodies are being, you know, hammered left and right, every which way, by poisons, essentially by low frequencies. So it's quite a hard job we've got to stay within the frequency or stay even to a minimal level of light frequency in ourselves. It's quite tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a lot of people, and I'm not being glib about that. I just mean it's a kind of a bit of a job. I find it myself.
Absolutely, I'm busy.
I'm going to ask you, Deborah.
I just wanted to share that just because literally
Could you mention what it was? What that was again? Was it electronic enhancement you called it?
Oh yes, no, energy enhancement system, and you can find it on the eesystem.com. And Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, she's a deeply spiritual woman. She's maybe 60, she might be 70. I think she said she was 70. She looks amazing. And also, Deborah, what she had done, there were lots of experiments, and she comes from a deeply scientific background. So all of this is science-based. All of this has been tested even by people in NASA, and you know, they've got scientific papers that you can look at. I have not done that yet because I just know this is the real deal, having looked at stuff and the frequency medicine over many years on and off in its different formats. And she, you know, came across it's TLS, you'll probably be familiar with the term, Deborah, and it's known as the light system, and they are a fairly large body as I understand it. I mean, I don't know if it's hundreds of thousands or just a few thousand in the world who are human and other intelligence orientated. I don't know how else to express it because I don't know what those other beings are like and where they're from, but just that is posited. And Sandra Rose Michael in 2011, I think it was approached by them about getting her work out there. Now, what she said was, look, you know, you may have heard of the med beds, and that's a one-time thing, you know, I mean, a one event thing. So one person at a time goes in. Well, she said, we need to heal people fast and we need to do it in numbers. So with this system, which presents as lots of monitors, like a TV monitor or a computer monitor, with lots of scrolling colors and codings in there, and they're all different, and you can get different amounts. So, you know, and you can get it even in a cube system, an 8, 24, 48 system. And what they do, they put those screens, and there's maybe 6 or 8 in one stack, and so around the room. And then, you know what is amazing about this, because I'm a little bit lazy? You don't do anything if you don't want. I mean, you don't even have to meditate. And, you know, as you said, Deborah, we're all busy, right? And they put recliners out, or beds if you can even do an overnight. That's becoming quite popular these days. And you just simply put your feet up. I went for a 4-hour session. Normally they're 2 hours. And in the 4-hour session, I must have snoozed for about an hour and a half. And whilst I didn't have any, because I'm reasonably well, I do have some lower back issues and maybe some little hip things going on. I'm dealing with that, but I think my lower back achy issue was marginally better. It's difficult to tell because I'm very proactive myself. But what I did have was a brief momentary experience just about the time either I woke up or went into that deep sleep of sitting but sitting up, not reclining. I was reclining, but as if I was sitting up, and the chair was being zoomed forward at incredible speed. I almost felt my hair, you know, in the wind, and I was zoomed out, and that was the last I knew. So, and then I was asleep, I guess, so it must have happened at the beginning. But it was such a visceral, deep experience, just for those maybe, you know, millisecond. I don't know, maybe 1 second. I don't know, but. I don't know what came of that. I can just tell you that, you know, also on other levels we're being primed and worked with. Those of us who are interested in moving things forward, whether it's in a subtle way or communication. So the EE system is really amazing, and a lot of people can be in the room at the same time. I mean, where I went, which is in Barnet in North London, they've got
one in Battersea, isn't there? Yeah,
there's Battersea, there's Southampton, there's Portsmouth. There's I can't remember where it is in Scotland. There's one in Scotland, one in Ireland.
I'm going to have to pause you just for a second.
Sorry, okay.
Joanne, I wanted to give you 10 minutes to speak, but
sorry about that.
You're going to have 5 in just a moment. So just to say, Joanne's going to be the main guest on the next sacred segments, and in a moment I'd like you to properly introduce yourself, Joanne, and just tell us a little bit about yourself. However, I just wanted to say, to finish your segment, Deborah, that for about 10 years now I have been writing to stem cell doctors,
right,
to ask them to be on their list for people training, doing stem cell experiments.
Right.
And I haven't got any response because it's not happening, or it's a closed group.
Wow.
So
well, you've just met somebody who's a messenger, and maybe I'm connecting you with something else that is accessible.
Yes. So
yeah.
So I would like you to you know, come back and speak again. And of course you're welcome to come on every sacred segments that you can make. Is there any other thing in closing that you can encapsulate in like 1 or 2 minutes, just because of time, that you would like to say?
Well, you know, if you are curious, we do calls on a Tuesday and Wednesday. You're welcome to attend to find out more about the technology, as well as, you know, the information I've just given you as well. You know, just to carry the conversation on. If you're thinking of looking at your own health, I can't say for anything else that is better, because it's nothing that enters your body. There's no contraindications. It's information. It's light. It's your own light.
And please,
And
can you
it's
give us
beautiful.
the website?
I will do.
Just say it out loud for the people watching the video as well.
Oh, it's startx39now.com is the landing page.
Say it again, please.
Startx39.com.
Startx39.com. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put, yes, startx39now.com.
Oh, now. There's a now in there.
Yeah. Startx39now.com.
Now. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Deborah, for being with us. And Joanne, that was fascinating. What you were telling us about the energy enhancement system. Please, in 5 minutes, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I tell you what I'll quickly do, because I can go off at a tangent, as you've just heard, with lots of amazing things to my interest. So I'm just going to read what I sent you, actually, which is a quick overview, giving you a timeline. Okay, so my initial training, and excuse me if I'm reading, folks, okay? And you can ask me anything as I go. Initial training in media, theatre, voice work, TV, production, healing modalities, and regression therapist. I've had a lot of work. I've also got a teacher's certificate for adults, and I've done stress management, taught healing workshops. I've been, in the real world, the other world, not the real world, the other world. I've done PA, secretary, work with learning difficulties, that kind of thing. Have disability in my family, so I'm very interested in it, in the human process and experience, hence the ET thing. So I've been researching and interviewing experiencers, alien abduction, contactee, paranormal encounter field, spiritual, it's all in there. And of course, the impact on lives, past lives, and the long-term implications. I'm very interested in that. So I've been doing that on camera, radio, really kind of low key, really. And other areas include consciousness, metaphysics, free energy technologies, the late, great John Searle, real hero of mine too. Alternative healing systems, arts, remote viewing, sensing. I work with a dowsing detective and I film him doing work. And so we've been doing a lot there. And I created PACES, which is parent and child support, experiencer support. That hasn't really taken off, but that is really just a space for adults, parents with children who are experiencing things. And we can talk about that if you want another time. So I'm going to whiz down the timeline. 2011, I founded the AMASH project, which stands for Anomalous Mind Management Abductee Contactee Helpline. So because I knew people needed just a point of contact. And back in 2011, it's not that long ago, but there wasn't that much, especially in the UK, maybe little pockets here and there, of people giving a more public ear, if you like, for the experiencer. So, and now it's very common, of course, but it wasn't quite so much then, certainly not in the UK. 2013, Channel 4 did a documentary about my work called Confessions of an Alien Abductee, which I found, well, what can I tell you? It was not great. But anyway, so then I also did 4 conferences under the AMASH banner, and the speakers were amazing, and that was an incredible experience to share that. And of course, that sharing and caring is really important, that human experience. So 2014-15, there was quite a lot of trouble with the AMASH project. I think it got a little above the radar a little bit quickly, sort of had a little bit of press and radio and that kind of thing. And then, the phone calls started being, you could tell there were people on the line, that sort of thing. And there was then the AMASH project website got hacked late 2013 with a ton of porn. And I had to close it instantly because it was causing a lot of issues. And so I also lost the name. Basically, of course, it's there as a historical legacy, but these things come in to try and knock you off what you're doing. But anyway, that didn't happen. So the person helping me with the website, helping me to close it and all the rest of that, said, quickly, think of a name. So I just said the ET Newsroom, and I'm not quite sure where that came from because it doesn't exactly reflect everything, but it is news, and it is to do with ET, amongst other things, of course. So in 2016, I wrote 44, based on an ex-soldier's true story of an English guy, lifelong encounters involving alien abduction. There's persecution by the Masons, police and a lot of things in that book. And it took me, I gave him three and a half years. When I say gave him, I mean that's how long it took me whilst holding down a full-time job and working with him. He was a very damaged, difficult person in some ways, a lovely person. I grew to love him like a brother very much. He used to drive me insane, but that's what brothers do. And sadly, he died just last year. But this book, the reason I spent so much time on it is because so in 44, the reason that 44 is there in the title is because this lifelong abductee had no knowledge of anything to do with spiritual, paranormal, ET, UFOs, anything like that. He was a black country boy. And let me tell you, that guy was a dyed-in-the-wool skeptic, and as hard-nosed as you like. He was a lovely human being. He had no education, but he had that innate intelligence in him, and he was nobody's fool. But he had been so hurt by life and humanity, and the ETs gave him a big shock. And at 44, he had this download, which played out a bit like a near-death experience. I was going to say near-life, near-death experience, in as much as his whole life played out before him. After he arrived home one night after a long gig, and it was about 2 a.m. and he'd already seen a massive UFO virtually outside his door, thought nothing of it, thought it was some kind of holographic effect from a fairground nearby. I mean, the guy was so switched off, blocked off to everything. It was amazing. But at 44, this download hit him like a dose of salt. Okay, 2018, I released Eclectia, which is an album featuring musicians who've had experiences of the X Factor, ET Factor. Okay, we can talk about some of their stories if you like. 2020, published Olives with Everything, which is a girly, fun travel book, also vegetarian recipe book, which is just not an ET in sight. But anyway, 2021, worked with a dowsing detective developing that idea for mainstream, but it's on my YouTube channel as well. And last year, I published my own autobiography called Vignettes of a Life. And it's based on a series of short stories, everything from the weird to the paranormal, including ETs. So and this year I'm hoping to finish writing Eclectia the book and my case notes files. So ever so quickly, that was kind of it. I hope that's it.
Joanne, what does IMASH stand for?
IMASH, I told you at the beginning, it's the Anomalous Mind Management Abductee Contactee Helpline. It just is an anagram for a MASH.
And what will your subject be next week? What's the title?
It's contact and the impact on the human experience. And I'll share with you some of the stories from these various areas and the impact, and then some of the healing along with that, and what this might mean in raising the frequency of humanity.
A massive subject, and we're going
just a bit.
Yeah, we're going to have a full panel of ET experiences. Joanne's going to be the main guest. Thank you.
How lovely.
I'm sorry to cut you short, but we are pressed for time, and we're going to have a demonstration of mediumship.
Oh, how lovely.
Syra, thank you for joining us. Hello, and I hope you're well, and I hope that you can hear us. I know you've been trying to join us since the beginning, and for whatever reason you couldn't join us. Deborah, thank you very much for your segment.
Can Deborah just mention that book with the 44 in the title again?
Oh yes, it's based on an ex-soldier's true story of lifelong encounters involving alien abduction.
Yes, and you'll be talking a little bit about that. Well, that's one of your books, right?
Yes, yes it is.
So in 2 weeks, Joanne will be the main guest, and there will be 15 to 25 minutes where you will have to speak on any subject relating to your topic, and approximately 5 minutes of questions as well, with segments from other people. Thank you for allowing me to get all that in. I know that we're limited for time and it's difficult to fit in everything. Okay, let's just take a breath. Carl, you are going to demonstrate some mediumship for us. If I could ask everyone please to mute. And you're going to be bringing in your guide, Kataran, or whoever it is that comes through, right? And I have a question for Kataran, and if anybody else does, we have 10 minutes, maybe 13. Let's have 13 minutes.
Okay. So, and just to be clear because I have no idea what he's going to talk about. And so, yes, but I'm happy to be here and to demonstrate. So for people who not seen somebody go into trance before, it actually happens very quickly. My guide comes through and makes himself known and he gets the conversation going, but otherwise you just have a conversation with him as you would with another normal being. Yes, enjoy. One minute. Okay.
Kataran.
Please.
Hello.
Very good to be here again. Yes.
It's good to see you. Good to have and feel your energy again. Thank you for being here with us. And thank you to Carl, who is bringing you through. I have a question for you, Kataran, relating to service here on Earth as individuals and our spiritual evolution. My question is about the difference between service to self and service to others, and how we can best serve our personal and planetary evolution through service work.
Wow. Okay. Big question.
Yes.
So we break it down. First of all, our experience coming from light, coming from spirit, coming from divine energies. We are all one. We are all one. So everything you do for the one energy, right? So everything you do for yourself, also you are doing for everyone. And everything you do for everyone, you're also doing for yourself. There is no separation between how you say the oneness of creation. Creation is one aspect of the divine thought, the divine creative instinct, the divine expression. Now, yes, for sure, in this physical world and also in the spiritual worlds, we have sense of identity. And our identity makes us feel that we are separate beings, separated from other expressions of the divine energy, because we see our separation through the behaviors, through the actions, through the creative aspects of the universe. But in reality, all energy comes from the one source, and all energy is connected at its most basic form in the roots to this one source. So everything that we are doing as one. And we are growing as one, we are evolving as one. And that is why we often have people talk about raising the planetary vibration. All small drops in the ocean are helping to raise the planetary vibration. And this is true. And everything, even the animals, even in their activities, they are helping to raise the planetary vibration. Now, to get to the true aspect of your question, which is, should we put ourselves before others? Should we focus on our own needs before the needs of others? It will depend on the circumstances, but we cannot ultimately continue, shall we say, to supply water from a well if we allow the well to run dry. So we need to find a balance between the nurture and the service we offer to others and the service and nurture that we offer to ourselves, so that we are taking care of our own, shall we say, health, our own mental health, physical health, emotional health, Because if we are doing that, and if we are ensuring that the well of compassion, the well of service, and the well of love and giving is being replenished, then we have much that we can give and share and give and share and give. So if we look at it this way, someone is coming to you and seeking your assistance, and in your deepest heart, you wish to be able to help them, but also within your own awareness and conscious mind, there is an understanding that it is beyond your ability, or that to do so may impact maybe some of your own family dynamics or some of your own mental stability and health and well-being. And so by doing an act of service, you are putting yourself at risk. Then this is something we would counsel against, because there needs to be a positive flow of energy, a positive flow of energy that is coming from a wellspring of love that is unending and being replenished. Now, it may be that you think, I am being unjustly harsh or cruel in denying my service to others. But it might be this is a lesson for you to learn also how you have to look after your own needs, and also for that person, how they must learn to understand the needs of others as well as their own needs. And so in a way, we are always in this dynamic interplay of cause and effect, of asking and receiving, giving, receiving, and it is the dynamics which help us to grow and evolve as spiritual beings, so that even in the withholding, shall we say, of some service, you might be helping to open the eyes or illuminate some understanding within that other person. I don't know if I'm going in the right direction of your question, but so I just want to check in with you if this is along the lines of the understanding you are looking for.
You've given me such deep understanding. Thank you so much. I have another question for you. With regards to raising the vibration enough so that we can make contact with our ET brothers and sisters, with those people from the other planets, who I understand are already here and among us. How and what can we do to facilitate this process?
Okay. This is a tricky question, because I have an understanding of the desire to participate in a role which has some allure and some excitement. But in the same way, not all are built to become like Usain Bolt or to be opera singers like Pavarotti. Not all have the energetic, shall we say, infrastructure to be able to communicate or attract the communication of those star beings. But what we do have is the ability to raise our consciousness, and within our meditation practice to reach out to the through the mental planes to receive knowledge and wisdom from spiritual beings, and they might be star beings as well as guides from the spiritual realm. So as we know from our own experience, we have the ability to bring through this channel other intelligences. And yes, they come sometimes and they share some knowledge or some wisdom, but it is not the primary purpose of this channel. This channel's primary purpose is to act as a voice piece for the philosophy and wisdom from the spiritual realms. But you too can, through meditative practice, develop more powerful, shall we say, mental meditation, whereby you expand your consciousness and you allow yourself to receive intuitive messages from those star beings. Now, we cannot ensure success for all, but we know this is certainly possible. and depending on the path of your evolution, and depending on the purpose that has been designed for you in your physical incarnation this time round, it might be that this is an outlet for you to make that connection.
This is amazing. Thank you. Well, Katarang, the only other question that I had is too big a question for this time. But maybe I can just leave it with you to answer for us next time. And this is about, I wrote it down, about the true nature of afterlife as it relates to salvation or transcendence or ascension. It's a very big question.
But we can succinctly begin to give some thoughts for you to digest in the meantime.
Yes.
One, we would ask another question. Why is the connection being made between salvation and the spiritual realms? Does not salvation happen in the physical realms also?
This is an amazing question. Thank you.
So we need to explore the dynamics of the heart matrix, of the spiritual expression that one has in all dimensions, because salvation comes in through all dimensions, through all experiences. And yes, we understand maybe a little that there might be some allusion to the rehabilitation processes that happen when one returns to spirit after the physical encounter in the physical world. And that may be an element we can discuss also.
That's amazing. For today, thank you. We must leave it there.
Okay.
Much appreciated. Thank you very much, Katarang.
Blessings, 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 blessings to all of you. Blessings, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your service, and thank you, Carl, for allowing Katarang to come through and answer those questions. Thank you, Carl. In closing today's sacred segments, I'm going to ask us all to speak a couple of words of gratitude. I will start and we'll go round the group. I am grateful for health and for my physical body and for the vehicle of this journey on the physical plane. Joanne, what are you grateful for? You're muted.
Pretty much the same. I'm just grateful to be here and have these amazing experiences and meet my like-minded fellow travelers.
Lovely. Thank you, Joanne. Great to see you. And look forward to your guest segment in a couple of weeks' time on the 28th. Shira, hello. Welcome. I'm glad you made it. What are you grateful for? If you could unmute, and if you want to come onto camera, then please do. If you're there. There she is. She returns to us, and she's coming back in now. Shira, are you there, and can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Good to see you.
Sorry, I'm on my iPhone. I've had so many technical problems with my laptop.
You're
but
here
I
now.
managed to listen to the spiritual guide. So I'm grateful for that, because I didn't think I wouldn't have gotten anything otherwise.
Amazing. Well, you made it. So you're grateful.
On my phone. I don't know how well you can hear
for Katarang's input in tonight's sacred segments. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good to see you. Deborah, what are you grateful for?
Thank you. I'm grateful for reconnecting to you, Alexis, and the beautiful work that you do. And a reminder of that, bringing all these people together. It's not that easy. And yeah, just, my work brings me to these kind of conversations. I am really grateful for that. And that was just amazing what just happened. And I was writing loads of notes. So I'm gonna, I feel really enriched from that. It's
you.
always something, little nudges and things that can land more. So that's kind of transformational. And just I'm also grateful for just being able to voice the things that are just in my head. And so I was able to get some engagement, which was lovely to see your smiling faces as well. So thank you.
Beautiful. Great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
So when you asked the question, what came to mind was consciousness, and I think the conscious mind and the ability of the mind to discern and to learn and to analyze and understand stuff, because we learn so much through the power of the mind. And I thought, I'm really grateful for that function that we have of our minds, or discernment, of the whole processes of looking, learning, understanding.
That's profound. Thank you. Okay, in closing this session, let's just do some planetary service and just close our eyes for a moment and visualize a white light coming down from above us, from space, and just filling our body and aura. Just breathing into that visualization for a moment and lodging the white light in the heart and seeing that white light shining out into the world and into the cosmos, into the whole of creation. Just detaching from that visualization for a moment and thinking down to the Mother Earth, who's a living, breathing, conscious being, and requesting with humility her violet flame of transmutation and protection, and visualizing that violet flame coming up through the body and through the aura as high as we can imagine into space, so that we're surrounded by this beautiful transmuting velvet violet fire, raising our frequency. And if you want to raise the hands and face them outwards during this visualization, send white light out through your hands and through your heart to all of creation, all of the people on the globe, anyone that might be suffering, to all of the troubled areas of the world, and just visualize peace flowing to all around the globe. Just spend a few seconds sending that light and that love through that white light frequency in 3 beams of light through your heart and your hands. I'll be silent just for a few seconds. Thank you. And in closing, let's take the 2 energies up into the golden sphere above your head, which is your spiritual essence, and then bring that golden rain down through the brain, all the way down into the earth. And then you close the palm chakras by just pressing them together and sealing them. You open your eyes, you can see that. You just seal by one swipe, so that you're not leaking any energy. Thank you so much for attending Sacred Segments tonight. Really appreciate you all, and see you in a couple of weeks where Joanne Summers will be the main guest. And the focus will be ETs, one of my favorite topics. Thank you.
I'll just say, if you don't mind, my full name is Joanna Summerscales, or Joanne Summerscales. And the reason it comes out as Summers on Facebook is because, and don't ask me why, at the time when I joined, I could not fit my whole name on. Now it's underneath, it's there. But if anybody wonders why there's 2 names there, it's fine. And people used to think my first name was Summer, which is nice, and my surname was Scales. But anyway, just if there's any confusion.
Great. I struggle with my name too. I feel it. Thank you so much, everyone. Great to see you.
Beautiful.
beautiful evening.
Beautiful, beautiful work. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Deborah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you.